I don't know if this has ever happened to you or not, but every once in a while, I'll start scrolling through like Facebook or Instagram, and I'll start seeing families' pictures, and it just makes me mad. All right? Anybody, I don't know if you ever get like this or not, but I just start scrolling through, and it's like, there is no way that is real. Jerry, let's go ahead and start throwing some of these up here. You know, you start looking at this stuff, and it's like, there is no way that families really like each other this much, able to color coordinate like that, always smiling, cute kids, you know, and just having the time of their life. And you look at that, and it's just like, is that really real? You know, it's like, because it's like, looks like a lot of time went in to make that happen. Because really, whenever I look at, you know, my life, maybe look at your life, I feel more like this. Jerry, let's go. Here we go. It's like, do you see the toddler on the floor? Yes? It's just like, I'm done not doing it. Now let's go to this next one here. It's like, how many of you have got a Jesse in your family, you know? And it's like, take the picture, honey. No. And then some, you know, they're smiling, but they're just going to the photographer. Just take the picture, right? How about this next one here? It's like, just make a good face. We want to remember this forever. And so you got kids that do that. How about this right here? You got, all I want is a nice Easter picture to remember, and you end up with that. Let's go to this last one here. I love this one, okay? Because I just know there's a conversation going on at the house. Helen, do you think, you know, do I have to wear a suit, or can I just like wear the jacket and the tie and some shorts? And she's like, you know, Henry, it's going to be fine, you know, just do that. And can you imagine the car ride back? You know, after they picked up their pictures, they're just like, what did you let me do? Now that, I don't know about you, feels a little bit more real to me, you know? Because like what we try to do, social media, we've always done this. Social media has just made it worse. Is we always want to put forth our highlights. You know, we always want to put forth the picture perfect version of ourselves. And so we spend hours setting up the shot, hours editing, making sure we've got the right frame, making sure that we're putting the right filter on the photo so that we can just project what we want everybody to see. But in reality, we all know that that's not what life is really like. That what we project is not what is true. And so we are not really perfect people. Newsflash for everybody in the room. Because all of our families, we've got our struggles. All of us, whether you're married, whether you're single, whether you're a grandparent, it doesn't matter. We all have our struggles. We all have those moments that we know down at the core, even though we may try to project perfection, there's nothing perfect about us. And that there's nothing perfect about our homes. And so what we want to do over the next few weeks is we just want to kind of just like start diving into the relationships of those people who know us best, okay? Because we believe that the quality of our lives will be determined by the quality of our relationships. And so we're going to just spend some time talking about our relationships. And if you're married, if you're single, if you're, if you're an empty nester, if you're a grandparent, this has all kinds of application for us because we all have relationships, whether it's people we live with, we work with, whatever it is. We've got these relationships, and we want to talk about not what is it that everybody sees, that we project in our picture-perfect kind of world. We're talking about the people who know us the best. How do we improve those relationships? Because the good news is that the Lord has not been silent. He is not quiet. And He helps us, and He gives us something helpful and hopeful whenever it comes to our relationships. So today, I just want to talk to you about just a very, very simple yet important principle whenever it comes to managing our relationships, and it's this: learning to put the Lord first, above all else. So if you got a Bible, we'll be in Deuteronomy chapter 6. That's over in your Old Testament. Deuteronomy chapter 6. If you are new to church, you may have never heard this passage before. If you are old to church, You are probably familiar with this. But while you're looking up Deuteronomy, let me just kind of give you a lay of the land here. Deuteronomy is actually a collection of sermons from Moses, like 10 Commandments, Moses. These are his sermons given to the people of Israel because they are about to enter into the promised land. The time wandering in the desert is now done, and it's time for the people of Israel to enter into the land that God promised them all those years ago, the land that is flowing with milk and honey, that land. And they're about to enter into that, but here's what Moses knows. He's knowing that he doesn't get to go. And so since he doesn't get to go, he's going to lay out, and he's like, listen, I'm about to be taken from this life, so y'all just sit there for a little bit and listen, because I got some stuff I need to say and get off my chest as you move into this new life. And Deuteronomy 6 is a part of this sermon, and it's a central key idea for us and as we think about our daily life and how we relate with one another. So Deuteronomy chapter 6, we'll start off in verse 4 and 5. And if you guys look up here on the screen, here are verses 4 and 5. And this is just such a great text. I just want us to read these two verses together out loud, all right? That means in your normal speaking out loud voice, not in your head. All right, here we go. Deuteronomy 6, verse 4. This is what it says. Ready? Hear, O Israel, the Lord our God, the Lord is one. Love the Lord your God with all your heart and with all your soul and with all your strength. Hear, O Israel, the Lord our God, the Lord is one. Love the Lord your God with all your heart, all your soul, all your strength. So what is the first key in living the kind of life that's going to help us begin to have relationships that are honoring to God? Well, here you go. You guys ready? You'll be so glad you came to church today. The first step is this: love God. All right, there you go. Aren't you glad you came today, right? It's like, ooh, this is a shocker. We're going deep today. All right. But no, that's what Moses says. Love the Lord your God. How much are we to love him, though? What does he say? With all your heart. With all your heart. He doesn't say, hey, as long as you're at 51%, you're good. He doesn't say if you can get to 75%, then we're starting to really rock. If you can get up to like that 93%, kind of thing, then he's like, no, with all, with every fiber of your being, love the Lord your God. But what is the problem? We're not all in all the time. Our hearts waver. They just tend to go off in different directions at times. And so much of the time, we could probably say that we are loving the Lord with part of our heart, part of our strength, part of our soul. We're not going all in. And here's the danger. Now, I want you to listen in to me just so closely on this. If you're online, you may need to hear this today. The danger of loving the Lord with part of the heart instead of all of the heart is this: you will become miserable. You will be miserable. Whenever we do not love him with everything we have, we become miserable. And you want to know what the problem is whenever you are miserable? You ready? Is that you go wherever you are. And so you can change your address, you can change your location, you can change your relationships and all that other stuff. But catch it. If you're miserable, what's going with you? Misery. Max Lucado's got a great line about this. He says this. He says, half-hearted Christians, listen, are the most miserable people of all. You hear him? Half-hearted, people that are halfway in. You're not all in. You're just kind of like dabbling around, one foot in, one foot out, saying that you love the Lord, but still want to live in your life of sin, all these things. Half-hearted Christians are the most miserable people of all. Why, Max, are half-hearted Christians the most miserable people of all? Right? Great question. He says this: because they know enough to feel guilty, but haven't gone far enough with Christ to find the full joy of his grace. You know enough, and that's why you feel guilty. But you're not experiencing the full joy of the Lord because you're half-hearted. Moses says, love the Lord your God with all your heart, all your soul, all your strength. So the question for us is like, so are you all in? Are you wholehearted or half-hearted? Where are yourself? Where are you whenever it comes to this? Where are you? Are you all in or are you half-hearted? So what are the clues? How can we do like a heart exam? Let's do a heart exam. What can we look at? Well, we can look at our heart right now. And it's like, okay, so am I all in? All right, well, let me ask a question. Are you angry, impatient, rude, hateful, lashing out, critical spirit, holding grudges, and bitter? Probably not all in. Right? But if your heart is producing love, joy, peace, patience, kindness, gentleness, self-control, and faithfulness, that might be a little bit better of an indicator. What about your resources? Back in the day, we would say, show me your checkbook and I'll show you where your heart is, but nobody has a checkbook anymore. So our hearts are gone. And so it's like now it would be open up your online banking statement, and now we can kind of start to see. Where is our heart? We say this around here, where our money flows, our heart goes. So where are your resources being directed? What about your rhythms, your personal rhythms? Are you spending time with the Lord on a daily basis? Are you making time with His people an important part of your life? Are you involved in His church body that He gave you? Now, every once in a while, I feel like I just got to take a time out and say, let me make sure we're all using the right vocabulary here. Let me tell you what I mean when I say involvement, okay? And I'll start by telling you what it's not, okay? Involvement is not show up late, sit with your arms crossed, leave early so you can beat the cross to lunch, all right? Yeah, everybody just uncross their arms. It's great. Love it. Power. Power, right? No. It's not just come in here, sit, leave early so you can get to lunch, never interact with anybody else, never do anything else or anything like that. That's not involvement, y'all. You know what that is? That's called being a spectator. See, this coming Saturday, if you guys didn't know this, I'm originally from Missouri, okay? And so Missouri plays Georgia in football, loosely speaking, okay? Loosely speaking. And so I'm going to the game, all right? I'm going to be going to the game, and you want to know what I'm going to do? I probably won't get there too late, okay, because I don't like traffic, but I'll get there. I will sit there with my arms crossed, okay, because Missouri's terrible, okay? I will criticize and critique. I probably won't even say anything because I don't care, and I'll probably end up leaving early because the game will be over by about the second drive of the game, okay? Why? Because I'm a spectator, right? I'm a spectator. But whenever involvement, what we're talking about is like getting in. It's like I'm a participator. I want to help the church body function. I want to participate. I want to be in relationship with people around me. I want to be a contributor who is serving, who is giving, using their gifts and their talents. I want to be a supporter. Okay, that's what we're talking about. That's involvement. Okay? Moms and dads, I want to talk to you. If you're watching on a screen right now, perk up your ears right now, okay? Put the bagel down and start listening to what we got to say here, all right? This is so important as a parent, all right? Your kids are watching and they are learning. They track this kind of stuff. I don't know who they is, but they do it, all right? And so, but one of the things that they found is like kids who become active Christ followers as adults, it's very, very simple how this generally works. If mom and dad both go to church, 72% of kids will as adults. 72%, so that's like almost 3 out of 4, okay? If mom only goes to church, then 15% of the kids will end up going to church. Dads, listen up. If only dad is the one, 55% will as adults. But if neither mom nor dad goes to church, only 6% will end up going to church. So here's just what I want to just lay down, for you just right now. In this post-pandemic, whatever kind of world we're in, I just want you to consider this. Make church don't miss again. Make it a don't miss kind of event. Now, I grew up, and if you've been around here, you've heard me say whenever I was a kid, I had a drug problem, okay? And by that, I mean my mom drugged me to church every single time I could, right? Waka, 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 right? It's just like, that's what it was. But it was Sunday morning, Sunday night, Wednesday, all these kind of things. She would drag me to church. And honestly, I didn't enjoy it as a kid. I didn't get to go to a church that had great kids ministries or teen ministries or those kind of things. So I didn't really enjoy it. but Mom did it. And so that generally meant I slept on the back row in Grandma's lap, and they're like, you're 14 years old. It's time. No, I'm just kidding about that. But like, we did not miss church. I'm just telling you, we did not miss church. The only reason we could miss church was if we were running a fever or throwing up. And even then, it was iffy. Okay? It was iffy because it's like, when was the last time you threw up? All right? And so, I think we'll be okay. But that's what it is. But now, here I am on the other side of 40. Now, listen, I resented it as a child. But on the other side of 40, I'm grateful. I'm grateful that my mom instilled that in me and in my brother. Because I think there's a really important principle to remember. Listen, this might sting a little bit, okay? But stay-at-home parents don't raise go-to-church kids. It doesn't happen. So you are the ones who are going to lead out in your example. Moses says, love the Lord your God with all your heart, with all your soul, and with all your strength. This is how what Tim Keller says. He says, if you love God with your whole heart, it means you'll love God with your whole life. Everything. All in. Love the Lord your God with all your heart, with all your soul, with all your strength. He continues, these commandments that I give you today, are to be on your hearts. Impress them on your children. Talk about them when you sit at home and when you walk along the road, when you lie down and when you get up. Tie them as symbols on your hands and bind them on your foreheads. Write them on the door frames of your houses and your gates. You want to know that the second key here, it's after we're loving God with everything we have, it's this. You got to lead your family. You got to lead. This is the principle about intentionality. You got to be intentional with this. I mean, notice what he says here. He says, impress them on your children. The Hebrew word that he's using there for impress is the idea of an engraver. It's the picture of a hammer and a chisel and that is etching into granite. Okay? And that's what he's saying. Impress these things on your children. Like an engraver going after a piece of granite. It's going to take time. It's going to take effort. But once it's done, it's there. Impress these things. Impress these things. Now, here's one of the things we know. That you've probably said this before. I've said this before. More is caught than taught. You guys have heard that before? That we catch more than what is actually told to us. In other words, our example will be the thing that is going to help out the most, and that is true. That's why the first key is love the Lord your God with all your heart, with all your soul, with all your strength. Okay? That is what you're hoping that they are going to catch. But do not miss this. You still have to teach. You still got to speak. You still got to share the things that need to be shared. How? Well, Moses lays it out, just in daily life, right? He's like, whenever you're walking around, whenever you're sitting, whenever you go to bed, whenever you get up in the morning, write verses on your door frames, put them up all around your house. It is be intentional. Look for the opportunities with your kids, with your spouse, with friends, whatever this is. Be looking for the opportunities to have a spiritual discussion. Look for an opportunity to pray with them or to ask them what you can be praying about. Look for opportunities so that you can, display generosity or teach about generosity. Lead them, lead the people around you. That's the key. You've got to lead them. But what's the problem? You want to know who the most difficult person to lead is? It's the person you look at in the mirror every single day. You are the most difficult person you will ever have to lead. And so that's why we talk about, the need for spiritual rhythms, relational rhythms, recreational rhythms, because in order to lead others, you have to lead yourself well. So what are the rhythms that you have in your life, Mom and Dad? I mean, think about this, relationally. What are the relational rhythms? Who are you regularly meeting with that you can say, I have no secrets and it is well with my soul? I'm not just talking about, getting together and talking about sports or games or the weather or those kind of things. Who is it that you have no secrets with? Do your kids see you doing that? If you're single, who is it that you have in your life that you can share anything, your darkest, the most just like darkest thoughts that you have right now, your biggest and deepest pain? Who do you have in your life? You need that. That's the relational rhythm. And how often are you meeting with them? What about the recreational rhythms? What are you doing to keep yourself in physical shape? Because this is the body that we have, and it's all connected. What are the spiritual rhythms that you have? How are you spending time with God? How much time are you spending with Him? What is your daily routine? If you want to lead others, you have to learn to lead yourself. Because you got to be intentional about it. Moses says, love the Lord your God with all your heart, with all your strength, with all your soul. And then lead your home. You got to be intentional about it. Listen, mom, dad, grandma, grandpa, hope is not a strategy. Just can't hope. You got to have some intentionality. So my bottom line this morning is just this. What you seek is what you serve. What you seek is what you serve. So what are you seeking with your whole heart? All your strength and all your soul. Seek Him. So here's my challenge to you. Now, you might think this is cheesy, and I don't care, okay? But guys, you know that November is like No Shave November, okay? And some of y'all get to do that. I don't because it's patchy, all right? And so what I want to challenge you with is just this. In addition to doing your No Shave November or whatever it is you're doing, how about this? Make church No Miss November. No Miss November. You got 4 Sundays now, okay? Here they are. I'll tell you what they are, all right? November 7th, November 14th, November 21st, and November 28th. You got 4 Sundays. Just say as a family, just say, hey, it's No Miss November for us. And you know what? I know something may come up or whatever. I would highly recommend trying to rearrange the schedule to make it a no-miss thing. But if whatever reason you just can't, then say, hey, as a family, we're going to do the online thing, okay? It is not a good replacement, my friends, but it is an adequate supplement. And so you just say, we're going to make it a no-miss thing. We're not going to miss November. Men, I'm just coming at you. You're the man. Lead your home. And make this a priority in your house, because what you seek is what you serve. So make November no miss November. But I got one last thought that I need to share with you, okay? Because it's not just, we're going to love God with everything we've got. Then we're going to learn to lead our families. But the last thing that I want you to hear is, to do this well, you got to learn to tell the story. Okay? You got to learn to tell the story. Jump over there to verse 20 in Deuteronomy chapter 6. This is just amazing. This is what it says. In the future, when your son asks you, hey, Dad, what's the meaning of the stipulations, decrees, and laws the Lord our God has commanded us? You tell him. We were slaves of Pharaoh in Egypt, but the Lord brought us out of Egypt with a mighty hand. Before our eyes, the Lord sent signs and wonders, great and terrible, on Egypt and Pharaoh and his whole household. But He brought us out from there to bring us in and to give us the land He promised on oath to our ancestors. So the Lord commanded us to obey all those decrees and to fear the Lord our God, so that we might always prosper and be kept alive, as is the case today. And if we are careful to obey all this law before the Lord our God as He has commanded us, that will be our righteousness. So you can almost kind of imagine the scene. The son is there and it's like, hey, Dad, hey, can you explain this to me? Why do you live the way that you live? Why do we do all this stuff? Why do we go to church every week? Why do you obey? Why do you treat mom the way that you do? Why do I see you tithing? Why do I see you giving, money? Why do you have faith? Why do you trust God even whenever things are just going out of control? Why? But you want to know what the question underneath the question is? You want to know what it is? The question is not why do you do this? It's why should I? Dad, why should I live like you did? And for most of us, if our kids come to us and they say, why should we do these things? Most of us, we go, well, because God said so. Okay? And so the question is, why should I obey the commands? And what do? We give another command. The question is, why should I follow these principles? And we give another principle. Now, in the short run, it's true, but here's the deal. It only gets you compliance. it will never satisfy their heart. And that's why it's really interesting. I mean, verse 24, the first few words are, the Lord commanded us. Okay? There's the command. That's because God said so. But that's not what comes first. What comes before verse 24 is verse 21. And what does he say in verse 21? Well, let me tell you a story. Because we were slaves in Egypt. Listen, he doesn't go straight to the command. He goes to the story. He tells them the story of God. He's telling his kids the gospel that God saved us by his grace. And the parent in Deuteronomy tells him the story that he knows, okay? And what is the story that he knows? He's like, oh, the people of God, we were slaves in Egypt, okay? And we were there. Pharaoh was horrible. We weren't free. But God sent us a deliverer named Moses. He went before Pharaoh, and God, through many signs and wonders, he did these plagues, craziness, okay? Frogs and flies. But the very last thing is it was the plague of the death of the firstborn son, where the angel of death went through all of Egypt and every firstborn thing was killed. But we, even though we are sinful, even though we are not perfect, we were able to get out. And son, you want to know how we got out? It was through the blood of a lamb. It was the blood of the lamb. Because listen, don't miss this. Before there was ever a law to obey, the blood of the lamb went on the doorposts. They did not hammer the 10 commandments to their doorposts and said, angel of death, here we go, I'm safe here. No, it was what? It's the blood. It's the blood of the lamb. They did not hide under something they did. They hid under the blood. So whenever the question is asked, Dad, why do we obey? It's because God saved us. God saved me. And we obey out of gratitude. Because, son, before the law ever went on the doorposts, the blood was covering us. He chose us, son. So that's why we obey. So today, you get to tell the story you know. And why do you obey, Dad? Mom, why are you so faithful? Grandma, why do you trust so much? It's not just, well, God told me I had to. It goes like this. Because, son, there was a point in my life whenever I was on the road to hell. And I was living in sin. I was living for myself. I was chasing after my own pleasures. But God, in his mercy and in his grace, called me to himself. And he forgave me, not because of anything that I did, but he saved me. How did he save you, Dad? By the blood of the Lamb. Because the shepherd became a sheep. And the perfect, spotless, sinless Son of God went to the cross on my behalf. And he became sin. Even though he knew no sin, he became sin for us. Because at just the right time, while I was still a sinner, Jesus Christ died for me. And it has been by grace that I have been saved. Not that I can even boast or brag about anything. It's because every single one of my sins, past, present, and future, was nailed to the cross in Jesus Christ. You want to know why we do what we do, my son? That's why. We live our life out of response to his great mercy. Listen, it is not enough to say to your heart or your kid's heart, well, you just have to trust him because he's God and you're not. That'll never satisfy their heart. It won't satisfy yours. What do you need? You need the story. You are a sinner saved by grace. And if you want to love God with all your heart, if you want him to be first in your life so that you can lead your family or those around you well, you have to tell the story to your own heart. You've got to tell the story to your heart and allow that to change you from the inside out. And so today, maybe for the very first time, you are ready to hide underneath the blood of the Lamb. And you're ready for that to be the thing that saves you. Maybe, you're online or maybe you're here in person. But I just want you to hear this. It is still the blood of the Lamb that takes away the sins of the world. That's what you hide underneath. It's not your effort. It's not your work. You cannot earn it. You do not deserve it. But he gave it to you anyway. All you can do is receive it. So today, maybe you're ready to receive it. If you're online, we want to invite you to our website and to fill out the form. We'll be in touch with you in 24 hours. If you're here in person and you're ready to receive receive the free gift of salvation, ready to experience the blessing of baptism, man, what a great day today is, right? You can do that today. And we'd love a chance to talk to you after service. But it all begins. What are we trying to do here? Well, we want to love God with everything we've got, so that we can lead our families, we can lead ourselves, we can lead those around us, but it's all going to begin whenever we learn to tell the story of Jesus to our hearts. So Jesus, we thank you for your story, that it is by grace that we have been saved, that you are the precious Lamb of God who takes away the sins of the world. And so for some of us today, God, maybe it's just a time for some heart work. A heart exam needs to be done. We need to look in deep inside and say, what is the condition of my heart? What is being produced? What is being revealed? And if we don't like what we are seeing, God, give us the grace to allow you to change us. Some of us, God, we need to step up and start leading the people who are around us and leading them into a good place, not a bad place. And some of us, God, we just need to hear the story again. The story of your love for us. So let that permeate our hearts and our souls. And we pray that in Jesus' name.